Good morning, everyone. I know I am the last conversation before you can get up, stretch your legs, get a coffee and a biscuit, so I'll try and keep it as short as possible. But yes, my name's James Dyer. I'm the Threat Intelligence Lead here at Knowbe4, and I kind of head up basically understanding what bad guys do within email security. Based out in Cheltenham. There's not much in Cheltenham. There's some races, some horse racing. It's very good, but there's a big government donut. And we work quite closely with them where we're able to understand how attackers are operating within email security and then ultimately patch where traditional solutions aren't performing. So today I'm going to talk about how we can nudge your individuals, your colleagues, into creating a better security culture within your business. Because as we've said, we've talked about behavioral science all through this morning. People don't always operate fully aware of what actions they're performing. And if you can do that with your training or with your security solution in place, you can ultimately make a more secure environment. So a brief agenda, what we're going to do, we're going to focus on what actually is behavioral science. How can we best understand it and why is it important to us? I'm going to give a few brief bits on behavioral science, what attackers are utilizing within their phishing emails, within their attacks to make them all so much more successful. And then we'll also demonstrate that in a live email and how we can also combat that in real-time teachable moments. And then wrap up with some conclusions on how you can implement these parts into your organization to, again, just make it a more secure environment. So behavioral science is all about understanding how people think, act, behave, whether that is when they're happy, sad, angry, or they're just overworked and stressed. They are operating at hours outside they're being paid for, they're writing emails at home, in their bed, with a big glass of wine, with their glasses on, and they're making mistakes. So understanding where these three core pillars of cybersecurity can interlink with each other and get the best outcome is vital. People, all of our organizations, we have not yet been replaced by AI agents, therefore we all operate with people in our organizations. Understanding how they perform, how they act, how they understand problems, and you can tailor everything within your organization to that is just a benefit through and through. You obviously have technology that must work alongside the human, adding friction where it needs to happen and blocks to block people when they're performing, when they're not sure what they should be doing, but not letting them go crazy or blocking them from doing their day-to-day job. Finally, policy again. When you implement policies, which is it's a great idea. We should stop everyone from authorizing payments then more than £1,000. You're like, that's a great idea. We'll block all these payments. They have to go through 2 layers of authentication. We've solved it. We're never going to send a fraudulent payment ever again. And then you realize your organization sends hundreds of thousands of these levels of payments every single day, and you can't do that 2-step layer of authentication. So when you're implementing policy, make sure it bounces off technology and people, and vice versa for all the other points. It is vital that they all work in unison to get the best outcome. I just want to talk a little bit about type 1, type 2 thinking. This is kind of areas where your mind can be, and it was something that was raised and kind of coined within the 17th century, but is still vital to today. And this is basically the 2 types of your brain where it can perform different actions, and 98% of your daily usage is in that type 1 stage. You make around 35,000 decisions every day. What socks am I going to wear? What's for dinner? Have I told my wife I've got here? Did I reply to that email? Oh, what are those decisions you're making every single day? You do 98% of those in that type 1 mindset. As quick, intuitive, unconscious, you are making those. It's basically a loophole where your brain has improved to be the most efficient organ in your body that it can just operate at speed so it can get through all of those thoughts that you have every single day. And then the remainder of those thoughts, that 2%, is where you're in type 2, where it's a lot slower, methodical, accurate. You are debating and thinking. I like to kind of say it as you're assigning brain cells to that problem. You are thinking about it a lot slower, therefore you're more likely to make less mistakes. But attackers know this. We've learned about it, but also attackers, unfortunately, they can read. They know that these things happen where people are in a higher risk state when they're in that type 1 thinking. And being able to apply urgency, credibility, authority in their emails, in their voice calls, in their smishing attacks, whatever it may be, on how they're interacting with your colleagues, they will apply those social engineering tactics as they've been a tried and trusted method to make their attacks more successful. But we also have things like nudge theory. This is one that was popularized kind of within 2009, where you can constantly nudge people into making different decisions. There's a lot of positives to that, so you can nudge people to not click that phishing email or not interact with that link. But unfortunately, businesses also know that nudge theory is a thing, so they use it in everyday life. We see it when we go to the cinema. If you're not smart enough to bring snacks with you and you end up buying snacks there, they do it with kind of nudging you up to buy the largest possible popcorn available by stacking all of the prices so small together that you're going to go for the biggest one because it's only 20p more expensive. You can use that nudge theory, breaking that cognitive narrowing where you are focusing on a single point with nudging people in the direction that you want to nudge them in. This is a phishing attack on the right-hand side. It's a little bit kind of sophisticated in terms of what it looks like. So there's no spelling mistakes. There's no massive fonts. It's not a Nigerian prince stuck on Mars asking for 20 bitcoins. This is one we saw quite a lot in the height of kind of the cost of living crisis, where prices were going up, energy bills were being kind of realigned, and tariffs were being hiked up through the roof. People and attackers can understand that is what is happening. They can take a HTML file from a legitimate EDF email and rewrite all of the words that they want to make it just fit the EDF kind of theme, format, pattern, with all of their legitimate links at the bottom. So you've got your contact us, which all go to EDF, but then they just rewrite saying there's an additional charge to your bill, and they just change where that link goes, and they spoof EDF and they send it. That is a perfect attack to send when the country is in some sort of panic, applying on those kind of 24-hour news cycles where people are in Parliament, news headlines are going left, right, and centre that these bills are changing, EDF are making decisions for us, and attackers can automate that. And I'm not going to bore on about AI because everyone else will be doing that today, but the power of AI can allow you to accelerate this process. You can automate a lot more of it instead of hand typing it out every email yourself, and you can customize it to each recipient of that. They then apply all the social engineering tactics that we see in every email through and through, where they're applying on fear tactics. There's a time pressure, there's authority. It's coming from your energy provider. You have to action this before a certain time or your bill will go up to £3,000 a month. Playing on all of those factors in unison whilst making a perfectly created phishing email is a great attack, and they continue making those at pace. But what happens if you could nudge people? What happens if you could just shake them? Whilst you are going through your inbox and you have tens of thousands of emails, or you've just come back from annual leave and you're yet to do the delete all, remove, and see if they email again tactic, you're going through your emails at pace. And like I said earlier, 98% of all of your decisions every day are in that type 1 thing. You are processing them as fast as possible. And when emails are getting more and more sophisticated, and it's harder to break apart from the lower sophisticated attacks, where it is that Nigerian prince stuck on a planet far, far away asking for a ridiculous request, but also then a perfectly HTML email that looks like a provider like EDF, like DHL, that's landed in your inbox, because traditional solutions are constantly letting these attacks go through. It's not a matter of if these attacks get through, it's when. And when these land in your inbox, in your user's inbox, they happen at the right time. Attackers know to send at certain times. They know how to tailor attacks so they present better on mobile devices than they do on computers. Wouldn't it be good if you could just nudge them? So having heat-based warning systems of going, hey, this has gone through, I don't think you want to be clicking it. There's some signs of suspicion here. Either they are sending it from a compromised account, or sending it from an IP address that's been recorded on a deny list before, all the way through where the system has been able to aggregate different data points and then reiterate all of those data points to the end user in jargon-free technology, where they can stop, break that cognitive narrowing, pause, read the email first. If they want to learn more, they can click in, interact with the email, and basically have this email completely sanitized so it's turned into a phishing email kind of simulation test on a real email that they would have received without the risk. I'm just going to close up. I know we're nearly there. I also want a coffee as well. On the 3 main points I kind of want you to take away. The first one is engaging your users, understanding how to best train them, tailoring the videos, tailoring the phishing attacks that they receive. There's no point teaching them about Netflix brand impersonation attacks if they're never getting Netflix brand impersonation attacks to their inbox. If they work in finance, they're going to get finance-based related phishing emails. Train them on those, because that's what's going to happen. And there's nothing better than training them on real live attacks in a sanitized, secure environment. Honestly, understanding the behavioral science will save you time, money, and stress. Being able to implement this, negotiate with stakeholders and get changes pushed through that you need to, and kind of reduce that admin time and buy-in is vital. And finally, going back to those 3 core pillars of cybersecurity, making your policy, technology, and people all work together in unison, and having behavioral science to benefit that is vital. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Thank you.